Hello folks, this is Steve AB4L. I'm playing up to a certain point in a video that I put up a couple of days ago. It's about figuring out what's going on with the fiber optic project, fiber to the curb, down by the Deep River at the edge of Franklinville. It's just a couple of miles from here. So you may recall that when I was down there, I picked up a section of the cable, and you can see here I was reciting what's printed on the cable. And here's a copy of it. It said 005196 feet. Now what I've learned from a comment from someone who's been following along is that when they manufacture the cable and doing the printing on the outside, they tell you how long where you are in the length of the cable. So the piece I picked up in the original manufacture run was at the point of 5196 feet. And as the person pointed out, you have some that you've been using on a roll, and you start to use a new section, and you take note of what's the foot marker that it says, and then you pull it through whatever, the conduit, whatever, and when you're finished and you cut it, you read the number of feet marker at that other end, and you subtract the difference, and you know what the length of it is that you've just put in. The wonderful thing about the search engines is that they can help you find things that you would think are obscure unless you had specific usage or professional knowledge. I didn't know what OFS means, but we're going to see. It said it was optical cable. That confirmed that it wasn't coax. The way my internet is delivered to my premises is by coax, RF signal in a coax cable. Just like the coax cable I use when I'm on my ham radio that takes the energy, the signal up to the antenna to go out to the universe. I knew this was a manufacture date, and now I know that this part and this 144F means fibers. 144 fibers are what's in that particular cable. And we'll get back to that in a minute. I don't know what this is, but what I guessed was that something like this was the most important thing to search on, because it looks like a part number. As I did the searching, I found out that OFS is the name of a company. It's the acronym of a company called Furukawa Company. And the search engine using this got me this brochure, which I downloaded. And it talks about two kinds of fiber optic cable. AccuRoll dry core rollable. What does that mean? Well, you may have noticed as I was driving along in some of the videos that the cable is wound onto wooden drums that are about 5 to 6 feet in diameter. And that might explain why that particular cable, the point at which I picked it up, was at the 1 mile marker of the beginning of the run of manufacturing it. 5,280 feet is a mile. So that gives you a feeling for how long the manufacturing run was, at least, and potentially how much is rolled up on one of those drums. I don't know actually how much is, but we're going to find out. So these are the fiber bundles in the middle. These are the sheaths, and I can pick out that it's either this one or this one, and this right here, I can tell that the one that I picked up was this one right here with the blue, with the aqua color. And I'm not knowing that by the aqua color. What I'm knowing it by is this part right here, which is the stiff steel wire, and there were two stiff steel wires just under the outer sheath. And whatever this is, it's different. So this is so this one is the AccuRoll dry core rollable ribbon cable with metallic sheath, because this one up here is with dielectric sheath, which is soft. What would these two cables, how would they be different? I can just do that off the top of my head. How did they use them in the video? In the particular case, they strung it on a guy wire across the deep river. Which one of the two do you think you would use? This one goes in conduit runs, my guess, and this one is specific to hanging out in the open where it needs strength to keep it from stretching and breaking and twisting. Which is why I told you had to be careful, because it could have stabbed me through my finger. The wire was that stiff. I would have trouble bending it. To do this, I'll bet I couldn't do it without pliers. Why am I going over that? So then they show you what's in the fibers, how they're rolled in there, and all of that. And this is the Furukawa Electrical Group. It describes the materials in the construction. And there was something else that I found on this page. All right. Maximum long-term load, 180 pounds. Maximum rated cable load, 600 pounds. Then it says things like minimum bend radius with load. How much can you allow it to bend when it's under stress? And it says 15 times outer diameter. So you think of the size of it, and then, so it tells you how much you could bend it around something, tensioning it under load. And what with no load, it's the same. This is telling you don't bend it more than this when you're, okay? And remember, the one that we're talking about with those two steel wires probably wouldn't easily be bent too far. And I thought I saw on here, no, maybe I'm wrong. I thought I saw on here this. So I'll ask if we can find, yeah, there it is. And there's one case of it, and it's right here. So the search engine brought me to this brochure online that is AT-3GE8YSX dash and then some numbers, and it's metallic armored. And they give it as an example, and it turns out that the brochure is about this particular specific type of cable. Now, you'll see in a minute why I said it that way. Search engine's great. So we know this brochure describes the cable that's on the ground down there, and not some variant that's similar. Well, it turns out that Wikipedia knows who the OFS company is. It's an American technology company known for designing and manufacturing fiber optic solutions. Since the mid-2010s, the company headquarters in Norcross, Georgia. So it's a subsidiary of a Japanese company. The headquarters location, that explains something. The headquarters where they are in Norcross, Georgia, used to be a film studio. Oh, wait a minute, that probably goes, wait a minute. So OFS is part of the Furukawa Electric Company that was started in Japan in 1884. In 2001, Lucent Technologies, which was an American fiber telephone optical technology, optical fiber solutions business was sold to, so that's how they entered the U.S. market. They bought up an American company that was doing something similar. There's nothing unusual about that. Consolidation. We usually think about like Google buying somebody. It's the same thing. Sometimes they buy somebody here, and sometimes they buy somebody in Europe, and sometimes they buy somebody in, see, same thing. The new company became OFS Fitel LLC, headquartered in Norcross near Atlanta. And then they go on and tell you about more of it. And it said in 2018, OFS sold 103 acres of its property to the county commissioners, and they have to get out of there by 2024. And I suspect that has something to do with the fact that it's kind of a historic site. It used to be a film studio. And it says the site is used for a variety of film productions since the mid-2010s as part of the film industry in Georgia. And then they tell you, so, and I recognize a couple of the, like Baby Driver. But what we're interested in, it mentions OFS Optics Fitel, and when I looked it up, it takes me to their website. I'm not promoting anything, I'm not recommending anything, I'm researching that cable. Then there was another part of it that's apparently in Denmark. So they're worldwide. But it takes you back to the same page. And then they talk about products. And there's a whole bunch of stuff, and when I was looking at this, I clicked on the fiber optic cables. And then it turns out there's a whole bunch of different kinds of cables. And there's indoor fiber optic, there's outdoor fiber optic, there's indoor-outdoor, which can do both, okay? So they've got their... So I did a little more research based on this part number. And I found a supplier. You don't buy directly from the Norcross location. You buy from somebody who can deliver it wherever you are. And in this particular case, we're looking at something called American Tech Supply. But there were others. I've got stuff like this here in the house. So they generally do, here's what their thing is, lowest price in the USA, guaranteed. American Tech Supply will not be undersold. Just provide us with a written quote on company letterhead of any. So if somebody says that they're got a lower price, prove it and we'll beat it. I'm not promoting anything. This is the way they're doing business. And why is that important? Because, based again on this AT-3GE8YSX and 144, looking at the American Tech Supply, online right now is their current fiber cable stock list, which might be where these people got it from. Not necessarily, but let's say we needed to get some. And I did a search on that part number. Now look what it says here. Now ATS is American Tech Supply, and the current thing that's online is 11/1/23. So it's approximately a month old. Well, look what it says. Welcome to our daily fiber cable stock page. All bulk, those big rolls that I saw, there are different places. That's what we're talking about, bulk. All bulk fiber cable on this page is available this week in our joint warehouse in Georgia. So they may be parked right next to the manufacturer. Who knows? Please check back daily for updated fiber stock as it is constantly changing. Why would it be changing? Because they sell. Now, I did a search on that part number. They've got all kinds of stuff here, but I was interested specifically in the one I picked up down there by the river. And here we are. AT3GE8YSX. Now look at the one above it. 3GE8Y. That part's the same, but then it says 4X. So it's a different production run. That's my guess. There are a bunch where they start out as 3GE8, and I think these represent production runs. Now, why would that be important? The specs might change a bit. It might be that once you've found a particular production run that you like, maybe it doesn't have too many defects, you'd like to get more of the same, instead of getting new batches of things and then you discover something you didn't expect. I'm giving you ideas because I have pretty extensive background. I'm pretty old. I've even worked in manufacturing plants for different kinds of products, including electronic products. So it might be that once you find a good batch of something, you might want to keep on using it as long as you can because there are no surprises. Or there are no surprises beyond the ones that you found, that you're already compensating for. But let's look at this one. It's -048. And here's a batch. Now I'm going to show you what this number is here. 10,522.2224 feet. It's 3.208 kilometers. They showed both ways. Now, over here, it says real wood, 60 by 36 by whatever the dimensions are. Why would you want to know that? Do you have a truck big enough? Do you have a trailer big enough to hold it? You can estimate the weight from it too. And that dimension, I said about 5 or 6 feet. That's the dimension of the wooden drums that have the fiber on them down there in the holding area. Now, this is 1.4 kilometers, this is 3.2 kilometers, this is 4.521 kilometers. Are these different runs, or are they telling you that they've already taken some of the cable off and this is what's left? I don't know. But when you're ordering, there's a specific inventory number, and you're ordering a particular item, and they're telling you how much of it there is. And why would they have different amounts? Well, I might have a small project and I don't want to buy 30 times more stuff than I need. That may be a reason why you don't order directly from the manufacturer. All of their rolls are going to be the big take it or leave it. But a supplier like this might be able to tailor it to your actual need. I'm not promoting anything. I'm guessing and interpreting. Now, this one up here had a slightly different part number, and it's 144. The first one in this run, which I think is a specification of the materials and process used to manufacture it, or when the run was done, apparently can come in 48 fiber, 96 fiber, you notice there's a relationship there. Oh, there it is, 144 fibers. But let's keep scrolling. As long as it's in yellow, it has the same part number. It's what's different is the dash number. So they've got different rolls, lots, reels of 144, which is what's down there. And then suddenly the next, here it's 288. Should they have bought a 288 and not have to put a second one across the river? It might not be compatible with what they're connecting to. And the spare might be a future spare. And for right now, they're working at the level of 144 because of the service capacity needs of this area. And 288 might be a main trunk somewhere else, near here. I'm trying to interpret. So these 144s, there's 15,000 feet, 14,000 feet, just under 10,000 feet, 8,000 feet, about 8,000 feet, about 5,000 feet. Oh no, that's a 96. So if I were buying from them, that's what my current selection is. But it's November 1st, but they haven't updated this. When I call them, they'll tell me whether they still have that stock number as it's here on the website. So I did a search. Thank you to the search engine. I based it on what I read off the cable. I found out who the company is, and it's international, and there are subsidiaries, and it was manufactured here in the United States. And the company that originated in Japan goes way back, just as some of the telephone companies around here that are involved in this actually go way back also. And if you were to go and look and see how old Toyota is, you might be surprised how far back it goes in Japan. Even if it wasn't a name brand you would. I remember when the first Toyotas were coming into the United States. That was way back in the 70s when I was working in my brother's foreign car repair shop, and he decided to specialize in foreign cars because he knew there were several Japanese brands coming into the U.S. market. Everybody knew what a VW Beetle was. I knew what that was in the 1950s. But there were no Japanese cars. And it was Datsun at that time, and Toyota. What's Datsun called now? Something else. So just by reading off the stuff on the cable and having comments from people helping me out, we've learned a little bit about the cable that's lying down there on the ground. And if we needed to buy some more, we know where to get some. All right? Steve AB4L, just having fun, exploring, learning. And there'll be more. Saying see you in 73.